Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on DC TV, the Arrowverse, because it's some Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff. But this video should be coming out on New Year's Day, or at least maybe the second day of 2020, but regardless, Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully everyone had a good celebration if you did celebrate, and just welcome to 2020. I'm looking forward to this year as well as this decade. Let's start off strong. So we are just under 2 weeks away from the return of the Arrowverse and just the DC TV in general and on our TV screens, and that will be with the last two episodes or parts of the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event, which will see us pick up again with the 7 Paragons in the Vanishing Point, and this will be 1 month after the end of Part 3, where they were put there and the entire multiverse was completely eaten up by the antimatter wave. But in this video, we aren't going to be talking about what specifically happens in those last two parts, for the most part at least, but we will be going over what happens after that is all said and done. What is the state of the, everything post-Crisis. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know all of your various opinions and theories and everything like that in the comment section down below. Do you agree with what I'm saying here? Do you completely disagree? Or do you have some little things to add? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're looking forward to the wrap-up for Crisis and what follows, why not drop a like on the video? Now, the way that we're going to attack this video, well, that sounds a bit aggressive. I guess the way we're going to approach this video is to go over each of the shows and how they will individually be impacted by Crisis, as well as what changes to expect on those shows due to Crisis. But with all of this, I'm going to look at this as if all the Earths merge at the end of Crisis, or at least that all the characters with the shows are on the same Earth once Crisis comes to an end. I think that's the best way to go about it and look at it, and it is most, I think it's the most likely outcome, in my opinion at least. So I'm just going to go through the shows in order that they air on TV. That's the order I've chosen today, but yeah, let's jump into it. So firstly, let's start with Batwoman, and Batwoman is actually the hardest and also, I guess, weirdest one to cover for this, mainly due to the fact that they are not in present day on their show, so they're not at the point where the other shows are. They are actually in the past. If I had to give it like an actual number, I guess you would say they're about 9 to 10 months in the past in comparison to the other shows. And you would expect them to stay like that when we return post-Crisis, as their show didn't really set up Crisis at all, sort of left on a bit of a cliffhanger, as if it was going to continue straight after that point. We know that episode 5 took place just after the Elseworlds crossover from last season, so even me saying that, that they're like 9 to 10 months behind, it could be seen as a bit of a stretch. You could argue, arguably make it, like 11 months in the past. But due to this, I wouldn't expect too much of a change with Batwoman, even though I would maybe like some resets with villains from the Arrowverse's past, so they could maybe appear on Batwoman. And we also know that Batwoman and Supergirl are meant to be having a crossover this season at some point. That's according to the Batwoman showrunner. I think she was the one that said it. So that would be a change caused by Crisis, you would think, where that would have actually happened maybe before where we are in the present day, if that makes sense, in this new sort of timeline, this new Earth, if Batwoman is still set like 9 to 10 months in the past. But that's like a watch this space situation, because who knows what they're doing there. But speaking of Supergirl, well, she's next, and Supergirl is one of the shows that we should expect the largest amount of changes and just weird stuff going on in comparison to what they have now, and that should be down to the fact that, well, the Earths are going to merge, and even though technically when you think about it, every show should feel the same effects with the changes, due to the majority of the Earths, or not majority of the Earths, the majority of the shows taking place on Earth 1 or Prime Earth, if you want to call it. If the Earths merge, you will probably see that Earth take the shape more of Earth 1 rather than any of the other Earths from the other shows. But with this new Earth, Supergirl as well as Superman will now be on the Earth that has the Flash and other metahuman superheroes and other cities, which is something that Supergirl has never really addressed or acknowledged. So it will be interesting to see the dynamic that comes from that, and the thing I wouldn't mind seeing them doing is maybe not resetting, but definitely reworking the whole alien situation that they have. Will this new Earth work completely if there are aliens everywhere? I mean, logically, they should now be in Central and Star City and everything like that, and other cities all around, well, the country and the world. So they could rework, it to make it that maybe aliens aren't publicly known, but are out there, and maybe the only publicly known aliens are that of Supergirl and Superman, and that's it. That might be what they do there, but I think that's the best way to go about it, just to make it a bit easier. But we'll have to wait and see what they do. And on the topic of shows from other Earths coming in and merging, Black Lightning is up next. Now, Black Lightning is 100% the show that is going to experience the most change, up there with Supergirl. I think that close, but I think Black Lightning definitely just gets above it, and that is due to the fact that there has been like zero interaction or references between themselves and the other shows in the Arrowverse until Crisis. And if you do watch Black Lightning, you would know that their mid-season finale that led into Crisis was a cliffhanger, completely based off Crisis. You know, their Earth was destroyed as the mid-season finale wrapped up, so Black Lightning viewers are going to have a lot to be like fed when the show returns after Crisis. Now, from what it seems, it looks like it's going to be set up that Black Lightning was always on this Earth, which makes sense if the Earths merge. If you don't know when the Earths merge, it's just that they don't merge at that point, and then it starts a new timeline. That their whole history has changed. So Black Lightning should have existed whenever he was, came to light on his Earth, on this new Earth. That's the exact same point. But it's just a completely new history where he was like mingling with everyone else. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see how they exactly go about it, but it will be interesting to see exactly how the show handles it, and then also play around with its new surroundings, which would presumably be them being on the same Earth as the rest of the Arrowverse heroes. The fact that Black Lightning films on the other side of the continent, though, where they're in Atlanta and the Arrowverse shows are in Vancouver, in Canada, will make it pretty difficult to have, say, like Supergirl or The Flash show up for an episode this season. But I'm sure they will figure out a cool way to set up the world and just make it clear where they are, and just where their existence is, after Crisis. And next up, we have The Flash. Now, funnily enough, I think The Flash, in regards to shows set in the present day, could maybe have the least effect, or be the least affected by changes due to Crisis. Like, I'm sure there will be references to changes, what we know is the history and stuff that has happened in the past, and all of that. But I don't know how direct those changes will be to The Flash and how it goes about, the rest of its season and the seasons to come afterwards as well. There was talk and even like hints from producers that the villain for the back half could be associated with Crisis, but that was a while ago and sort of hasn't been referenced in the slightest in recent times. So that could still play into everything, but who knows at this stage. One thing that I wouldn't mind seeing is if there will be some changes to what we know of the history of this Earth that changes some stuff up with the Flash. Maybe this is why we're getting like a female Mirror Master this season and possibly some other things as well. Everything that's already been set up, such as like the Sue Dibney stuff, the Black Hole and other things, shouldn't be affected or changed in a major way at least. But other minor things yet to be hinted at or introduced could be mixed up a bit as a result of what's happening in Crisis. But I wouldn't expect too much change with the Flash. Like, I'd be very surprised if there's anything too major, but who knows, they could shock us. Now Arrow itself shouldn't be affected, even though the series finale could show hints at it and what's happening, but it is the spin-off show that's coming, which is basically Arrow 2.0. Like, they're really not even trying to make it a different show, but the new spin-off show, Green Arrow and the Canaries, should show these changes, and they will have a backdoor pilot in episode 9. So this is the week after Crisis ends. That should show some of the new changes. Now, that show already has set up changes in the last few episodes of Arrow before Crisis started, so they sort of set up like Roy Harper never going on Leanne Yu, so William never goes there, but also they set up Mia or William going to live with Felicity and Mia and growing up with Mia, so Mia's not alone, and also William is connected with Felicity and everything like that. So that completely changes the history of those three characters, and maybe even Felicity, I don't even know, but definitely changes the future of Roy, Mia and William. But specifically with Mia and William, and I guess the most specifically with Mia, it changes what happens with her character, and we should see those changes in that backdoor pilot. But we also could see a future, or we should see the future of this newly merged Earth, which maybe might introduce new characters, but I guess the main thing is that it could show us like a future, or what a future is like on this Earth, where like the Flash was there, Supergirl was there, Superman, and other metahuman superhero beings and everything like that. That would be very interesting to see what the future is like there, because would they let, say, the city where Oliver was go to crap like that and everything like that? I don't know, it's hard to know exactly what they're going to do, but it will be cool if they do go down that route, and they should. I don't know why they wouldn't. I think it's a missed opportunity to not go down that route. And the last show is Legends of Tomorrow. Now, from what we know, we've only like really heard about one sort of thing like that's really major tied to Crisis and its effect on the season. That has to do with Sarah. Like, she's like Sarah Lance. She's really the only thing that's meant to like really show the effects of Crisis. Now, Legends of Tomorrow season 5 takes place after Crisis. So episode 1 of Legends season 5 is after Crisis on Infinite Earth. So it seems like it's going to be more of like a personal thing with Sarah, which I guess makes sense due to like what's happening with Oliver and everything like that. But I don't think you're necessarily going to see too many changes with Legends. And I think that mainly comes down to the fact that they're a time-traveling show. Like, most of what they do is set in the past, which, makes sense that there wouldn't be too many clear changes because they're not spending either a lot of time in the present day or in the future. Like, I can't remember the last time they went to the future. They don't really do that often anymore in Legends of Tomorrow. It's mainly like a time-traveling history show rather than, both sides, like the past and the future. But one thing we could see is maybe like different history based off the merged timeline. So there could be little things in history that were a bit different on different Earths due to the merging, which could be pretty cool. But I don't think they'd focus on that too much, especially because of the theme for this season, which I think they're going to focus more on that rather than anything else. But I have to wait and see. But Legends, I'm not expecting too many changes either. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all to go over. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and it shows support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over. Do you disagree with some things I said, or do you have anything else to add? Let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.